dry and dusty. This is the ghost town of Silverton, near Broken Hill, about 1,200 kilometres west of Sydney. Over the years, the abandoned buildings and desolate landscape have been a magnet for film and TV directors, giving the place a reputation for being the Hollywood of the Outback. But one iconic film, shot here in the 1980s, has had a lasting legacy, spawning a quirky museum dedicated to Mad Max. The owner's name may not be Max, but some say Adrian Bennett is just as mad.
Well, I think if somebody would have said to me 34 years ago that I'd be living in the outback of Australia with a Mad Max museum, I would have laughed. Because it really has been kind of a natural progression. There was no real set plan to how this passion, this interest was going to turn out. I knew that the passion was going somewhere. I didn't know where, but once I arrived in Silverton and we started to build a museum, I knew this is where I was meant to be and what I was meant to be doing.
This impressive collection of cars and memorabilia is the result of a lifelong obsession with the film, which he first saw as a teenager in 1981 in the UK city of Bradford. Back then, a Mad Max museum was a pipe dream, but his life changed forever in 2009 when his wife Linda agreed to move their whole family and life from England to the Outback.
As an 18-year-old sat in the cinema, I was in awe of what I was seeing on screen, and all these years later to be here and to have friends that worked on the film, and some of them have become close friends. It's a real honour for me. Sometimes I've got to pinch myself,
He's amassed hundreds of photographs, posters and costumes and brought them together in a one-of-a-kind collection.
We're right in the thick of really where Mad Max 2 was shot, so it's great for them to come to the museum, be able to see all this paraphernalia and all the memorabilia, and then be able to go out to the locations. That's a great thing about where we are here.
Mad Max starred a young Mel Gibson in a breakout role that helped launch his international career. He played a policeman, Max Rokitansky, who was avenging the murder of his wife and child killed by a vicious road gang in dystopian Australia. The vast array of cars were a big feature of the film. Many of these vehicles have been lovingly recreated by Bennett and others have been donated. There are also many other original items given to the museum from the production crew. While the Bennetts have now settled in well to outback life, the move from the UK wasn't without its challenges.
It hit 53 degrees, which was unbearable. It was just unbelievable. We've kind of got used to it now when it gets into the high 40s, but to hit that kind of temperature for us coming from the UK was a pretty big shock.
In its heyday, Silverton probably had around 3,000 residents. There's probably only about 35 today. But its unique location and quirky characters mean tens of thousands of visitors pass through every year.
Leslie and John Trenfield made the trip from the Yarra Valley in Victoria.
It's unbelievable, all the pictures and all the paraphernalia they've got to go with it.
When you see how they made it and you've seen the movie, you sort of think, gee, how did they do all that?
Fury Road was originally supposed to have been shot around Silverton, but production was moved to Africa at the last minute because of unseasonal rain, which made the desert look too green.
Certainly to have another Mad Max film shot here, it would have been absolutely huge, but yeah, bad timing and it just didn't happen. So, fingers crossed, maybe they'll bring the next film back here and that'll make up for not having Fury Road shot here. So fingers crossed with that one.
George Miller has indicated there are more Mad Max films in development, so depending on the weather, there are high hopes Silverton could once again reprise its starring role.